Nice and clear. Awesome. You can't hear me so well? Yeah, is that better? Good morning. Yeah, a bit more energy than that, guys, yeah? Good morning. There we are. Yes. How are we doing today? We okay? Yeah, wonderful. Really excited to kind of have you down here today. Just a few points. You are not the only people in attendance. We have loads of people that are going to be virtual as well. Hence the microphone, and it might feel a little bit strange and look like I'm doing some form of lip sync battling, but you're not going to hear any kind of loud audio from here, but this is just for those that are attending online. So could you all do me a favor? Where's the camera? What camera? They're in that camera. Can we all turn around and just give them a massive wave and say, "Hi, everyone"? I mean, I'm not sure why I'm shouting. I've got a microphone. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Not sure why the mind's working like that. But let's get the energy up in the room. Can we all just stand up really quickly for me? I think those of you that have been to a careers fair before will understand what's happening. So I'm just going to go through a couple of house rules, first and foremost. This won't necessarily apply to those that are virtual, but take part in the game, right? I mean, it might be a bit weird because you may be by yourself, but still do it for the laughs. First things first, at Makers, in order for us to get your attention, there's a bunch of people in the room. We just do what we did at the very beginning, which is raise two hands like this. Can everybody just follow suit really quickly? Bam. Love that. Fantastic. Compliant. Everybody's good. I hope the kind of hiring partners are paying attention. So awesome. So we're going to play Simon Says. Does anybody not know how to play Simon Says? Or in some places called Simple Simon. Does anybody not know how to play the game? Very basic rules. If Simon says do this, you do it. If Simon doesn't say do it, don't do it. For example, Simon says, do this. Do this. If you did that, you'd be out, right? Very quick way to get the energy up. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm going to put the microphone down and shout really loud so that you guys can hear me. Can you guys still hear me okay? Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Simon says, do this. Do this. If you did that, sit down already. You finish. Sit down. 3, 2, 1. Simon says, do this. Do this. Sit down. 3, 2, 1, someone says do this, someone says do this, someone says do this, someone says do this, you came back up, sit down. 3, 2, 1, Simon says do this, someone 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 says do this, do this, you came back down, sit down. 3, 2, 1, someone says do this, someone says do this, someone says do this, sit down. He's just staring at me. 3, 2, 1, someone says do this, someone says do this. Oh, okay. Simon says do this. Simon says do this. Do this. Sit down. 3, 2, 1. Simon says do this. Simon says do this. Simon says do this. Do this. You came back up. Sit down. Yes, sit down. Go on, Patrick. Oh yeah. We've got a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Really exciting day. We want the energy to come up. This is a fantastic opportunity for every single one of you to show the hiring partners that have arrived here today what Makers are and who we are. So please, one huge round of applause for every single one of the hiring partners that have come down today, please. Thank you very much for coming down. Have some awesome guys. Now, I'm going to hand over to the more balanced and very capable Katie, who will take you through our kind of fire safety and all of that.
Thank you. I have the boring job to do housekeeping, so I'll keep it quick because I know this is not what you want to be hearing, but we do have gender-neutral bathrooms. If you do need to use them, go out towards where the lift is, and just on the right-hand side, there's bathrooms there. And fire safety as well. If they're in the rare occasion that there is a fire, please do not use the lifts, make your way down the stairs, turn right out of the door and right onto Thrall Street, I think it's called, which is a little laneway on the first right there, and we will gather, make sure everyone is safe, but hopefully that doesn't happen, touch wood. But on that note, that is all the housekeeping. So the big, what we've all been waiting for, the first hiring partner that I am so excited to introduce to you is MVF. They've hired many makers in the past. We've got a few makers here today as well. They will introduce their business, their roles, talk about how awesome their company is and their team, and then we will open up to some questions as well, which if if you raise your hand, you can then ask your question. We will repeat it through the microphone for the live stream, and then we'll get to those as well. So MVF.
Hiya, I'm Russell. This is Paula. We're from MVF, which is a marketing agency based in London. So I'm actually an ex-maker, so I did the makers course about 3 years ago. We've hired 9 makers so far, so we've got quite a good experience of training you guys up, and we're looking to hire 2 more. Unfortunately, they've hidden the bit at the bottom behind the podium, so I can't just leave it as that. Yeah, sure. But I'm just going to talk through the reasons why we were voted as being the Sunday Times #1 100 best companies to work for. So, Paula, if you just want to go to the next one. Before I do that, though, I'm just going to talk through what the actual roles are. So we're hiring an associate engineer in Team Rhino. That's a full stack role, but with a focus on the back end. You'll be mostly working in PHP, but also a little bit of work with TypeScript. And then we're also hiring for Paula's team, which is Team Lightning. That's a full stack position as well, but that one's got more of a front end focus. And that one will be mostly in JavaScript. And with that, let's just hand over to Paula, who's going to talk about teams.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Paula. I didn't come from Makers, but I've been an associate engineer for the past year. I've been at MVF for 4 years, which means that I made the career change while I was there. I think this is just to show how much I love working there and just to give you a little bit of idea of how amazing it is. We have 500 employees and we keep growing. Within tech, we are around 80 people. Your team would be, as we mentioned on the previous slide, around 9 people, which includes product managers, engineering managers. It's going to be mid to senior to lead level. So it's good division of different levels of experience, which is great. You'll be able to work with data engineers, UX designers, UI designers. You'll be able to work across the company with not just developers, but with all kinds of people and stakeholders. And I think in a nutshell, that gives you an idea of the teams. And I'm just going to pass to person.
Okay, so in this section, I'm just going to talk about the tech stack that you'll be using, as well as some of the engineering culture at MVF. So a lot of our back-end applications, especially the sort of older ones, are built in PHP, and some of the newer ones have a Node back-end. In the front end, we tend to use JavaScript, TypeScript, and we also use React. Engineers are responsible for building their own automated tests, which is very similar to what you guys do here. So we use Jest PHP unit, and also Cypress for the end-to-end tests. And each team is actually responsible for the whole of their products, from the front end, back end, and also deployment. So you probably get some chances to work with the ones at the bottom there, Terraform, Docker, AWS tooling, as well as Circle CI. We do have a platform team as well who manage the infrastructure, and they're excellent. So if you're not sure about any of that, then you'll have loads of people that will be able to help you with that. We're really keen on pushing forwards new architectural choices and architectural kind of models. So recently we've been building all of our applications as microservices. We've been using a back-end for front-end model, and we've also been building component libraries where we can share the components across the whole company. Whenever something like that comes up, we have meetings where we discuss what's coming up, what the purpose of it is, and also just sort of how you're going to do it. So you'll always be able to share that and everyone will be able to know what they're supposed to be doing for that. And I think that's it for that section. So onboarding, Paula.
Thank you. So a little bit of an idea of how it's going to be if you join us. The first week will be Start Smart, which is how we call the induction week. So this is a great opportunity to understand what the company does, all of the departments, get to meet people outside your team too, unless we get to hire 2 people, and then you're going to be together with them. We have a buddy system, which is pretty cool. You're going to be assigned a buddy outside your team that has been a company for at least 6 months, which means that they already have a clear idea of how things are, and we're always here to answer any questions, but it's good to already have someone outside to help you make connections and relationships. You're also going to be pair programming with more senior people, which is always a great opportunity to learn. You get familiar with the documentation, which is not that exciting, but you also get to work in your first story and make your first deployment, and you're going to be part of the code reviews, the weekly one-to-ones with your manager, and already be part of the stand-ups and retro sessions that we do. Once stand-ups is every day and retro sessions is fortnightly. And yeah, I think that's it. So back to Russell.
Okay, I'm quite excited about talking about this part because this is really what sold it to me when I was looking at applying to MVF. So at MVF, we really do focus on making sure that you become a better developer. And it's not just that they say that, they also put that into your day-to-day. So I'm just going to list through some of the reasons why that's the case. So we have 10% time. What that means is that 10% of your time, so 1 day every fortnight, you get to spend on your own learning or working on your own projects. So you've always got that time sort of dedicated for you to actually get better at what you're doing. We have an unlimited book budget as well as a training budget for each individual of £1,000 a year, and you are encouraged to spend that. So for me, I spent part of my training budget on Epic React, which is a course that I've been using my 10% time to actually work on. There's also the chance to move between teams. If you see that there's another team that's working on something that you really want to work on, that's actually something that I did. So I moved over so that I could work on a little bit more React and push myself in that direction. And career progression is really, really pushed at MVF. So all of your managers will always be trying to kind of get you to that next stage, and they'll also let you know exactly what you need to do at each step to be able to get there. And finally, we have a in-house React Redux training course, which you can get stuck into as soon as you start. It kind of links in with what you do in your interview as well. So it's quite nice that you get that kind of that flow all the way through. Okay, and then we're on to the sort of most exciting bit, I think. So Paula.
Thank you. So personally, that's my reason why I love working for MVF and why I've been there for 4 years already, which is the culture. So we have a stunning brand new office at Old Street, so not far away from here, which has anything that you want or need. We have kitchens, we have showers, we have breakfast every day, we have lunch once a week, we have pairing stations, you have a Zen room where you can meditate or pray if you need to. It's really great. We always have socials, so we have tech socials, which is great to meet everyone from tech, but we also have team meetings, team socials that you can meet the people that you're working close with. But we also have company-wide socials, which is very important because especially working more from home, you miss the chance to create connections, and this is a great opportunity to make that. We have 4 networks that make sure that everyone feels included, that we are talking about important things and bringing diversity and inclusion to the company. We have the Women's Network, we have the LGBTQ+ network, and we have the Lived Experience from Ethnic People network, and we have the Neurodiversity network. We have so many clubs and sports that I won't be able to remember them all, but anything that you can think of, from yoga to jiu-jitsu to strength classes to football to almost anything. Really, it's really amazing. We have the choir too, which is really cool, and you can join. Well-being, it's a very important thing for us. We have the Be Well program that ensures that we're always talking about mental health, that we're normalizing this, and we take this very seriously. We train MVFers to become mental health first aiders, which is something that I did, and is a 2-day course just for that. And I think this shows how important it is for us, and how amazing it is that we have this focus. We have Headspace subscription, if you like. We bring guest speakers to do lunch talks to talk about this too. And we have meditation and we have yoga, and yeah, we have a lot of things well-being related. And charity-wise, that's also a very important thing for me personally. We have the CSR committee, which is just made by volunteers, which I happen to be chair, and we organize fundraisings every quarter to our designated charities. So each network chooses a charity, and then we just make fundraising. So we just had a bake-off, which we raised £2,600, so which I'm very proud of. We have 2 charity days per year that you can use for any chosen charity that you want. And we also offer matched giving, which means that if you donate up to £500 per year, you get match, which is amazing. And last but not least, we have a performance-based trip, aka if we hit the targets, the company goes abroad, is a company-wide. And we don't know when it's going to be the next one exactly, but we've been to Ibiza 4 times already. And it was amazing. So I think that's it. I rushed because I didn't want to run out of time, but I think that's it. And we're here to answer. Oh, we still have the interview, sorry.
So hopefully that's enough for you to see that it's a good company to apply for, if that one wasn't enough. I'm just pointing that out again. But here are our socials, so if you want to, I'm sure that you'll let these slides be available so they can have a look at this so you don't have to take a photo. And seeing as we've got a little bit of time left, I'll just quickly run through how our interview process works. So after the maker's initial application, if you get past that stage, then we'll send you a at-home coding test, so you won't have to do it in front of anyone. It will take as much time as you need, within reason, don't take a year. And we're looking at code quality over code quantity at that stage. So just make sure that you're using everything that you've learned from makers to refactor and make it exactly like the best that you possibly can. We don't want you to use PHP if you don't know how to use PHP. We want you to use the language that you feel most confident with. So because otherwise we're not looking at how well you're writing code, we're just looking at how well you can learn a language in a week, right? Once you get through that stage, so if we're happy with that, we'll give you a pretty standard interview, but the only bit that's a little bit different is we do pair programming, which tends to be related to your coding test that you did. So that's actually the point where I kind of like decided, because I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to join MVF at the time, because I was already at another company, and that's the point where I decided, yeah, this is the one for me, because the pair programming, the quality of that was really good. And then they'll also ask you some pretty standard questions about your past experience and values. If you get through all of those stages, so applying through makers, the at-home coding test, and the interview, then we really do aim to get you started as quick as possible. We know that you've put a lot of money down to do this course, and you want to get started as quick as you can, get paid as quick as you can. So we will try and put those applications through as quick as possible. And Ash is in charge of doing that, and that's his like dedicated job to make sure that you can get started with us. Okay. So I think with that, just any questions?
Starting out in a junior role, how long does it normally take to reach a mid-level position as a programmer?
I think it varies, to be honest. I think it's quite varied. It really depends on how. I think each person progresses in a different way. For example, I'm looking to be promoted this year, which is going to be 1 year from when I joined as associate. But I've done so much self-studying beforehand, so it wasn't something that it just happened. I was already studying for almost 2 years before. I think I'm giving you my experience because that's the honest answer, but I wouldn't take this as a brew. I think the important thing to say is that we are always taking people's progression into consideration, and it's an important thing. So if your manager feels that you're ready, you're going to get promoted. It's not something like you need to have completed X amount of time. Which I think is really beneficial because some companies don't work that way. Does that answer your question? Yes?
Hey.
Should we take the microphone?
If you repeat the question into the microphone.
Oh, okay.
That would be great.
Sorry.
So you join onto a team of 9 people, is that what you said, when you're working on projects? And then you said something about platform infrastructure, and I saw those Kubernetes and what was the other thing?
Terraform.
And that stuff we haven't really done at Makers so much, but it's quite interesting, or at least to me. But do you do any kind of work in terms of infrastructure, CI pipelines, and kind of DevOps kind of stuff, or is that separate from your team at 9?
So the question was, do we do any sort of DevOps side of work as part of your job, even if you're like a front end or I mean it says full stack. So basically every team we have quite a few teams. I don't know how many teams there are.
7?
About 7. Is that including platform as well?
Maybe more than.
Yeah, but every single team has a responsibility for their particular products. So my team, I'm in Team Gold, we have a responsibility for a product called Capture, right? Mm-hmm. And we have to actually make sure that we can get that deployed. We have to be able to do everything all the way up. So yeah, we do have to get stuck into some of that stuff. So recently I've been literally doing CI this week, even though I'm not a DevOps engineer, because it's just part of the process of getting each of those applications up and running. It is great because it means that you do get more of a kind of, you are a real full stack engineer.
So you get variation. You get to you get a chance to kind of delve into other like areas. Let's say you like really like DevOps and really like the platform stuff. Then you get to like say like I'm really getting more out of this. This is what I really want to kind of go for.
I can't remember if I actually mentioned it, but I think I did. I actually moved across from one team to another. So because we're quite a big company, if you really do see that that's something that you really want to work on, then, and it's the same for front end. If you did the back end one and you were like, this isn't for me, I think I'm more keen on doing this, and your manager was keen on that, then you'd probably get the opportunity to be able to move across. Okay, so I did. So I can't see any reason why someone else wouldn't. Okay.
I don't know who went first.
The one with the highest hand up, I guess.
So I know you're a digital marketing company. Is there any advantage in knowing about that, especially for the back-end roles?
To be honest, I think it's always beneficial to understand a little bit of marketing. Maybe it's my background as a designer saying that, but it's not a requirement at all. You always have very clear meetings to understand what is the scope of the work that you're doing. You don't need to have any inside knowledge on how to sell best. Obviously, if you have any ideas, people are always, I'm sorry, you didn't repeat the question, right? But we're talking about marketing and if it's important to know in our company. But yeah, you have a lot of people whose expertise is marketing, so you can always rely on them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I have one off Zoom. They're just asking if it's fully in the office or hybrid.
Yeah, we didn't actually mention that, did we? Yeah, so for all of our engineers at the moment, we're actually working from home every day other than 2 days a month. So if you wish. However, we do have like beautiful offices in Old Street. Honestly, we've been on the news because our offices are so nice. And unfortunately, I live in Southend, so it's a long way to come in, but I still come in sometimes for the office because it is that nice. And also, I think when you're first starting, I think it would probably make sense for you to come in and actually get involved, at least at the start, just so that you can do that pairing a little bit easier and everything kind of flows, and also so that you get to know the company. I know personally from starting at the company remotely that it's a little bit harder to kind of like get your feet wet, really.
I just wanted to add that the 2 per month is just for engineers, so all the rest of the company is 3 times a week. So don't feel like you're going to go there and it's an empty office. It's very alive. There's a lot of people. It's just the techies that they have the benefit of just... do you have time for more questions?
Yeah, we'll do one more question at the back.
I don't want to choose.
You can, yeah.
We're going to be there afterwards, so maybe just do it.
Who are some of your clients and what are you actually making for them?
Sorry.
Who are some of your clients and what are you actually making?
I don't know if we can mention who our clients
are.
What's the previous ones, or like what do we actually create?
I am not sure that we can we go to, maybe we can talk about it in one spot, I don't know.
Speak to legal.
We have to ask Ash.
Maybe Ash will be able to answer.
But,
okay, should we take the other question then?
Well, it's along a similar vein.
Oh, okay.
You will be able to talk to them later as well, so you can save your questions up. We'll wrap that up there. Awesome. MBF.
Okay. Awesome. I hope you really, really enjoyed that. We are about to hear from our next hiring partner. They've actually moved heaven and earth to actually be here today and rejigged a lot of meetings so that they could actually make it here to speak to you. So if you could have a massive round of applause for Sahaj Software. Really awesome company.
Sorry guys, bear with us for 2 minutes. We just got to set this up, so it'll just be a couple of minutes.
What we'll do is we'll hand the mic over to you, and yeah, I mean, if you want to start whilst we get it loaded up, that'd be, yeah?
Do we actually need the mic? Am I audible?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, no, of course, you're audible enough, but it's for those that are remote.
Ouch.
So you're not going to be able to hear yourself on the mic, but those online are going to be doing it, so you'll have to pass it around.
Okay.
Awesome. Round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Sorry, it'll just be, I think, 20 seconds.
Okay, no worries. Yes. Okay, let's start with a round of introductions then. I'm Nitin. I'm one of the co-founders and managing director for Sahaj UK. We are a software engineering consulting company, founded in 2014 in India, and in the last 8 years we have spread across India, Australia, UK and US. I think about 8 offices in 8 years is what we've done so far. About 150 people spread across all of these locations. We are a company, I'll try to kind of not do a monologue and wait for the content that comes up. But to kind of spark some thoughts, some interest, we are a company founded on 2 principles, which is ACE team and no exploitation. Without getting into details of that, I think we would want to make this more interactive. We would want you to kind of ask questions and us answering those rather than us presenting like a 20 slider. So I'll leave you guys with those thoughts and we'll probably come back to those after introductions. Veda?
Hi, I'm Veda. I've been at Sahaj Software for over the last 14 months. Prior to that, I was working with ThoughtWorks for about 17 and a half years. Being in the services industry been in the industry for 18 and a half odd years. Technology services company means you kind of go work with several clients, several domains, several tech stacks, countries. I've worked in India, US, and the UK, and moved here to the UK permanently in 2010. So Sahaj, like Nitin said, I again don't want to say a lot. Let's make it a lot more interactive, as much interactive as possible. It'll be fun. That way, it's literally one Wordle slide you've got, and then there's lots of words in there. So it's your to ask as many questions as you would like. So yeah, here we are. I'm a techie, and I've got varied experience across different tech stacks. As you know, with technology services experience, you kind of go with what works best for the problem you have in hand for your client. So yeah, that spans from .NET, Java, Golang, Ruby, and you name it, basically, whatever. That's it. I'll pass on to.
Hi, I'm Sudarshan. I'm a full stack developer. I've been doing programming for like some 8 odd years now professionally. I studied mechatronics. I wanted to be a roboticist. Somehow got here. I've also worked in product companies like for 2 years. I've been with Sahaj for some 4 years odds. So yeah, I'm just going to pass on the mic and hopefully we have some slides to look at.
Okay, so by the time the slides are coming up, to add some more, I think just to kind of give a little more details about my background, I've been in tech industry for about 20 years now. A good part of that I spent in India, but I've worked across US, India, China, Hong Kong. I've kind of been traveling around quite a bit and been in UK for last 3 odd years. In terms of what I've been doing, I think I've done pretty much most of the things. I start from writing code, to BA, QA, program project management, running organizations, and then at Sahaj. So that's what I've been doing. Talking about Sahaj, perfect, thank you. Talking about Sahaj, I mean, the word comes from Sanskrit. Sahaj means simplicity, a Sanskrit word which means simplicity. And that is basically the ethos of the organization. A lot of things that we do, we focus a lot on simplicity and making sure that even though the clients that we are working with, I mean, the problems they're facing are pretty complex, the businesses are getting complex, but we kind of tend to simplify those and build simple solutions. When I say simple, I'm not talking about duct tape, I'm talking about highly sophisticated but simple solutions. So that's how we kind of pitch ourselves. And going back to the founding principles of ACE team and no exploitation. With that, let's start off with a bit of a video. That work.
Sahaj stands for simplicity. This company was started with that very notion of simplicity. The journey of Sahaj started as a group of friends who got together, who were passionate about creating solutions which are simple in nature. Sahaj is all about building solutions, technology solutions which are simple. And when I say simple, I'm talking about the ultimate level of sophistication here. And a couple of things are very key over here, which are like integrity, the openness, the transparency of whatever we do. So whatever we do is very open to all the member sides.
The customer I work with currently, for them I don't think Sahaj is the first choice. It's the last ray of hope. What this means is all the traditional ways of managing the product and also delivery has been tried, and this is the last shot at getting things right.
For me, working at Sahaj is basically waking up in the morning and coming to work with one of the best people, some of the best people in the industry. When a company starts off, diversity is very critical, and in Sahaj we value the opinions of. We want people with diverse opinions, and we try hard to get people with different backgrounds, with different experiences, and I feel that diversity is what makes us very strong.
I often compare it with F1 servicing. It's more intense and short duration, where a small team put together works towards a common goal. The reason I like Sahaj most is it gives enough freedom and space for us to work and learn parallelly in our day-to-day work.
Why I want to come to Sahaj? Because Sahaj challenges me to my limits.
I love Sahaj because it empowers my decision making and let me be myself and speak my mind.
I've done different things while I was in Sahaj for the last 2 years, ranging from doing recruitment to interacting with clients, to doing consulting, to doing sales, to doing various things. And that's what makes Sahaj unique from other places.
Developing software is a very creative job, and I have all the luxury to do that here. I have a great workstation with multiple monitors, and then I have the luxury to take as many leads as I wanted to do, which kind of rejuvenates me, and then that kind of improves the productivity that I have.
I've been working in Sahaj for the past 2 years or so, and I've been here from the very beginning, and I've actually seen Sahaj change and go through a lot of ups and downs. And what's nice is we've all been part of this journey, making Sahaj what it is today.
A lot of awesome people, a lot of wacky ideas, and you actually see the ideas convert into a product. I think that's very important as an engineer to see where your product goes and how it works and how people like it.
I think it is really the culture of Sahaj that differentiates it from the organizations out there.
Sahaj is a thought, it's a belief, and it's an experience. And Sahaj has got a breadth and depth which can indulge anybody for his or her capacity, and
there is definitely a culture of openness and transparency. I mean, where do you actually go and be privy to all the financial transactions that a company has? Or where can you actually go where you can actually see all the salaries of all the employees in the organization? This is path-breaking. It's never been heard of in the IT industry. And that speaks volumes about the kind of maturity that the organization has. There are cases where people have actually come up and said, you know what, this is an initiative that we actually want to start. Dev Day, for example, right? And nobody stopped them. People said, just go ahead and do whatever it requires, so we'll actually help you with it.
cool things.
Like cutting edge.
Simple. Transparency, growth, fun, learning, liability, influence,
Simplicity.
revenue, solutions, opportunity. Sahaj is an experience. Come with it.
So we've been kind of thinking about when we come here or when we go anywhere, like how do we kind of talk about this journey? How do we kind of tell people without kind of boring them to death? So here's an idea about that. This is what we came. I think we've tried to capture everything that we've done in the last 8 years, what we stand for, all of this, in this one slider. What we really want you to do is just look at this, pick up the words that interest you, and ask us questions. That's how we want to run this session. Ask us anything. We have tried to kind of capture pretty much everything, mostly, possibly. And we'll try to answer. Please.
So in terms of creating solutions for clients through the use of technology, other than going into actual examples for legal purposes, can you give us a rough idea of what a project looks like within your company? So in terms of how you help clients reach their goals, is there any way you could give some kind of example of what exactly that means?
Yeah, sure. So we help our clients across the globe there's a broad spectrum, right? So there's one category where the client comes to us and says, got this idea. I don't know if it's going to work. I want you to help me validate that and help me realize how that product looks like in reality, not just the mock-ups, right? So that's one which is mainly product engineering, where we go in, we work with the clients, we help them to validate their ideas and then work with them, come up with a solution and build it using the right technology that's suitable for that solution. That's one part of it, which is product engineering mainly. That's probably what you might have heard from your friends, or you might have gone through that in your bootcamp sessions as well. Then there is a whole bunch of stuff around data, setting up data pipelines and building data lakes for the companies, organizing their data, and bringing in all the good engineering practices in the data space, data engineering practices. That's also another category where we work with our clients and we help them in that space as well. And then, sorry, I'm nearly done. No. So, and then we've got, after you've sorted out your data, you've got really cool data pipeline set up and everything looks great, then you move on to drawing insights out of that data platform, which is where your machine learning models and AI comes into picture. So we also work in that space. I would say Sahaj has got a very niche sweet spot in product data and AI and ML space. Cheers. Yeah.
My question is regarding when you start off, are you assigned kind of straight onto a client project? And if you are assigned to a client project, how long will you stay on that project? Mm-hmm. And when will you move on to maybe a different client project? Would it be like 6 months, a year on the same project, or would it be more varied than that?
Good question. Again, when you come on board, the most hard thing also is matchmaking thing, right? In our industry, where you find the right skills, the right people for the right problem at hand. When It's a hard job, but we do it nicely. We don't have any policies. We don't have anybody separately sitting out there like a staffing function doing all of this. It's a master jugglery. We get it done somehow. People are people end of the day. So it's a lot of conversations, figuring out who's best suitable for the kind of job we have. Have a conversation with them. Again, it needs to be, they need to like it as well. They need to be motivated by whatever is on the plate. So, and having said all of this, business demand, business need always takes priority, right? So there's that element as well. That lens is quite important. Once that conversation happens, then we put together a team where people are complementing their skills and they're working together. We don't have any roles, dedicated roles, like many organizations, no cookie cutter cross-functional teams as such. We only have engineers who are makers of the software or the makers of the solution that we need for the problem at hand. So the engineers take care of gathering requirements, talking to the product owners of the clients, figuring out what needs to be built, what technology to use, how to architect it, how to design it. They do everything, write code, you test it, you build it, and you kind of deploy it, maintain it, evolve it. So it's everything end to end. You own the whole solution end to end. There isn't throwing over the wall concept. Now, once that's all done, there isn't again a fix saying, oh, you're only going to be here for 6 months or 1 year. It's again purely driven by the nature of the work. Things change so rapidly in our industry.
Yeah, I just want to answer a little bit more. Just to share my experience of what I've been through at Sahaj. So the last time I was at Sahaj, I spent 3 years. In the 3 years, I worked in like 6 different projects. It's almost like 3 months I worked on a project, and then 3 months I was not working on a project. And I was just doing stuff that I care about. Like I want to learn and get better at some things. And just because I'm off a project, it's not like I'm not getting paid. So the company still supports me in whatever endeavor I want to pursue. And when there's a need, they're going to ask me. And there have been times when there's a project that people wanted me there, and I didn't want to be there, and I've gotten out. And I said, like, I don't want to be on this project. In these aspects, I think Sahaj is like it's almost like a community. You can really talk to people, and you can mostly do what you want. It's mostly going to help the company out. That's the kind of fit we are looking for, like people who want to do stuff that will end up being like making money for the company, but they're also open to like doing what they want. I've mostly been on very small teams, but there are also like slightly bigger teams in Sahaj. Like I've mostly been on 3 to 4 people teams, delivered software in 3 to 4 months, and then like moved on. But there are also bigger, longer engagements that we have with like some of our clients demand more work, and they have a longer like delivery vision. So we kind of work with them more often, and we can switch teams in between. So that's just it.
Do we have any more questions online? Yeah? Sure, absolutely.
I was just wondering what kind of support there is for junior developers when you join your company.
So in terms of support, so when people join us, especially at the junior levels, there is a program that we kind of take people through, more in terms of tech training and our way of doing things and all of that. Post that, the people who join us, we expect them to kind of start contributing pretty rapidly and kind of start standing on their feet. But so there isn't a structure, but there is. See, what we're trying to build a community of network people. So you will see that there isn't a role, there isn't an HR department, there isn't a people function, there are none of those things. It is about building connections, and there is a team of awesome people around you, and you can lean on them for support. That's how we want to kind of grow this organization, rather than saying, here's a training to check a box. That just doesn't work in this business.
One more? Any more? Going once? Going twice? So fantastic. Massive round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. No worries at all. So we are now going to hear from our other hiring partner, Limio. Can we give Limio a massive round of applause? Or have they quickly popped out somewhere? I mean, he's definitely here. Where he is is the other question. Okay, so let's do this. Are you guys okay to go ahead? All right, fantastic. Well, we're not going to hear from Limio. We're actually going to hear from Let's Do This. Massive round of applause. And in true fashion.
What's up, guys? How are we doing? Yeah, good. Everyone feeling happy? Sick. All right, cool. No, don't worry. I'm not gonna take you through like another like exercise. Cool. I guess we can introduce ourselves while we're getting started. Hello, everyone. My name is Ivan. I am an engineer at Let's Do This. I've been there about 3 years, which the company is 6 years old, but the first 2 years of that were mostly the founders just, like sitting in an empty like warehouse office, like shouting at each other. So, been there a while. And this is...
I'm Erin, and I've been at Let's Do This for about 18 months now. And I am a fellow maker, so I graduated Makers in March 2019, I think it was. But yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Sick. Sorry, guys. No problem. Listen, we can scroll down the slides. It's kind of chill. Yeah? Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, this will do. Cool. Hello, guys. So we are Let's Do This. As compared to the two companies you've heard from a lot, we are a little different in that we are a little bit smaller. So we are a startup. As said, we started a few years ago, and we are hiring engineers. So good stuff. All right, I'm going to take you through a little bit of who the company is, and I'm going to hand over to Erin to talk us through engineering. Here are some photos of us looking like lovely and wonderful. That's great. We are now a big enough company that we actually hired a photographer to take photos of us, which is great. Big win. Anyway, let me tell you a little about who we are, what we do. So our mission is to inspire people across the world to come together and experience moments that make them feel alive. We all work in tech. Tech is the game now, but tech has kind of gotten a bad rep in the world in the last kind of year or two, right? It's been a little bit complicated, right? The really big players in the industry, your Facebooks, your Googles, your all these guys, really serious tech firms, but there's been a lot of negative press and stuff, deservedly in some ways. A lot of the business models of these companies has relied on things like, taking your attention all the time and trying to monopolize it, right? We as a tech company are trying to do something a little bit different. We are trying to be the online company that gets you offline, right? We want to facilitate an experience where we can get you onto things where you're not at a computer, right? Where you're doing something out in the real world, experiencing it with people you love, right? Living your life a little bit, right? There are long dreams. Eventually the end goal of this in 5-10 years time, we want to be the Amazon of offline experiences. But our kind of starting point is we're building a marketplace for endurance events. So in the same way that on, let's say, hotels.com, you go to book a hotel, you come to Let's Do This to book a run or a triathlon, right? You want to do a 5K, you want to do a marathon, you want to do a triathlon of some kind, running, swimming, cycling. We're the place you come to book it, right? The marketplace is the main product, but it's probably worthwhile to highlight it's not the only bit of the thing. Running products are interesting ones in that you book it, but particularly with a marathon, you don't do it till 16 weeks later. So we also have functions in the business that are focused purely on that thing. What happens after someone is booked, and they've given us money, woohoo. But how do we make sure that the actual experience there is as good as it can be, right? So everything from before to after. So that is us. We work with some really amazing organizers across the world. Unless you are a keen runner, and if you are, awesome, definitely come talk to us. If you are not, also great, right? Part of the goal of the company is we want to make sure we have a diverse range of experiences within the industry, because people who aren't runners actually bring a huge amount to the table. Some of our best employees flat out refuse to do events, which is a fun little dynamic. But we are paired with some really amazing organizers. A lot of these names won't mean anything to you unless you're in it, but if you've heard of the Great North Run, if you've heard of the Hackney Half, these are events that we are exclusive booking partners with us. If you want to book a ticket to these, you're going to come via us, right? So we're partnered with some really big names, and we are also supported by some fairly serious people in the kind of across the place. So some of these people might not mean much to you. They didn't mean anything to me until I kind of learned a little bit more about startups. The 4 people on the right here are essentially the heads of various important organizations within running. We work with all of them directly. They're, listen, they're all dressed in suits, right? They're important people. This group in the middle are investors, right? Again, if you are clued into the financial aspect of startups, which again I am not and wasn't, some of these are big deals, but a lot of these firms have invested in some serious companies. So Y Combinator was was one of the first investors in Stripe, Airbnb. I think Kraft was an early investor in Facebook, which is now Meta, which is a stupid name change, but we won't discuss that too much. I think NFX was an early player in Lyft, and I think Airbnb again, is it? Yeah. So like there are some serious investors who have invested in some serious early stage companies who also like us. So, you know, I'm basically trying to say we've got some street cred, folks. All right? That's kind of the image we're painting. And also, you might know these faces here on the left. This is Serena Williams, Usain Bolt, and Paula Radcliffe. Serious athletes, also investors, right? They believe in the mission. So yeah, that's a little bit about who we are as a kind of top level. I'm now going to hand over to Aaron, who's going to talk a little bit more about our engineering function and what you will be doing as part of Let's Do This.
Thank you, Ivan. So yeah, on to the stuff that probably is most interesting to you guys is what you'll be getting up to as an engineer at Let's Do This. So first off, I'd like to introduce to some of our engineering team. This is not everybody, but this is just some of them, and we have some really great people in our engineering team. So for example, Tom Elliott at the top is our VP of engineering. He was probably one of the second or third engineers hired into Facebook when they first moved to the UK, so he's got loads of amazing experience and is an incredible manager. We also have people from the likes of Google, and also we've poached a lot of people from Deliveroo as well, so we've got some really great people. So when you join, you'll be working with probably the best engineers. I don't know, I say the best engineers I've ever worked with, but it's going to be supercharge your career for sure. And then once you join, you'll be embedded into one of our mission-based teams. So what I mean by this is we have 5 different teams: supply, demand, unforgettable, USA, and growth. And each of these different product teams focus on a different mission rather than area. So just because you're on one team doesn't mean you have to focus on just one part of the attack. You are like exposed to everything. And within each of these teams, you'll have a designer, you'll have a product manager, you'll have data scientists, you'll have lots of different people. So you'll be able to work with like a range of different people. It's not just a small engineering teams. And each engineering team is about 4 or 5 people. And this is, for example, our demand team. And this is the tech stack you'll be working with. So as you join Let's Do This, you're a full stack engineer. You get to touch every part of the stack. So it doesn't really matter what you're interested in. And if you wanted to like go into a bit more, like each team sort of like focuses a tiny bit more in different areas, but generally like everybody works on everything. So we have TypeScript for our backend, we have Node for our backend services, we use React and the Next.js frameworks for our front end, GraphQL and gRPC for our like interactions, API stuff. We host on AWS, we use MongoDB, but we also have some Postgres, Redis stuff, CloudFormation and GitHub. But I just wanted to highlight as well, when I first joined Let's Do This, I had 0 experience in everything on this board. So it doesn't matter whether you've used any of this before, it's like completely, you can just learn on the job. And there's a lot of people as well, I think Ivan.
I was an iOS developer for 2 or 3 years before I joined, so I had to learn a lot of things very quickly. But I was supported in doing so, and succeeded.
Fully supported from day one to be able to learn everything as much as possible. And as sort of highlighted before, you are part of the team from day one. So one of our engineering principles is permission granted, which means if you want to get like, your hands stuck into something, you're more than welcome to go and do it. You don't have to ask permission for anything. And we'll be able to give you support to empower you to build the most amazing technology from day one.
Is it frozen?
It is frozen, yeah.
Frozen, great, cool. This is all on the next slide, which we'll eventually hear.
I'll just keep talking. So you'll get obviously support from day one. You get to work with, as I said before, world-class engineers. We've come from lots of different amazing companies. You get a buddy assigned to you before you join, so you can get like contacted with them before first day, and then from day one you work with them for like the first like 6 or 7 weeks when you join Let's Do This. And there are no stupid questions. We're all in it together. Honestly, the amount of questions I had to ask when I first joined. Yeah, okay, so you get to work with lots of other people. I kind of want to wait for the slide so I get my prompts. That's fine. And then also another really exciting thing is you start to have impact from the first day you start. So you'll be pushing to prod on day one. I was terrified when I first joined, but honestly, that's kind of the way that we go. Let's do this. You're pushing to prod continuously. You get to assign yourself to the About Us page on your first day, so it's a great task to start off with. I think we're nearly at the end of it anyway, so. Yeah. We just got to that. This is literally the final scene. So yeah.
We'll send everyone the slides later.
Yeah. Also, to highlight, we also have a learning and development budget, which is a minimum of £250. You're obviously very welcome to spend over that, and we want a minimum of £250. We should use this tech called Learnably, which is really cool. It gets loaded up with £250 credit, and you can basically go and spend it on whatever you want, obviously within reason. But it's like learning and development stuff, but it doesn't have to be tech stuff. It could be like a different area of the business, like you wanted to get learning about growth, for example, you could go and learn something about that, or even like you wanted to do some mental health courses, something like that, you're more than welcome to go and do that as well. And it's really important to highlight, we're not looking for people who are just really good at coding, we're looking for people who want to get involved in every aspect of the product, from the ideation sessions all the way through to the deployment, and making sure that everybody is having a really great experience when they come and use our product. Yeah, and that is it from us. So please come and talk to us, and do you have any questions? Yep.
So you have mission-based teams?
Yeah.
Are you working on different, is it all one product you're working on there?
So we have 2 different products. One is, 3 different areas of the product. We have our web app. We have a side to that, which is also hosted on the same thing, but for our organisers, so our organisers can come to the portal and sort out all the stuff for their events. And then we also have an app, which is what Ivan works on.
So does it just enable people to be able to sign up to the group sporting events?
Yep.
So the website is largely is intended to be a marketplace. So again, you come on, you book things. The organizer portal, marketplace have 2 sides, right? There's we're all familiar with the side for consumers. There's also a really important side there, the supply side. Generally speaking, with the marketplace, the supply side is the hard bit. So we have a separate section of the website that is specifically for that. Organizers will come on to manage their events, to say entries are closed, sign up new ones, that kind of stuff. And then the third product, which is the one my team works on, is an app which allows you to do some of the consumer side, like booking thing stuff as well. But the focus of the app is really to help you get from your booking point to the thing. So there's chat functions built in, so you can set up a team to do things. There's functionality built in where on the day of the event, your race results will get immediately sent to you. Photography will be sent to you. We do a bit of. One of the features we have is we'll have photographers on the course, and then based on the bib number you're wearing and your face, we'll do OCR and facial recognition to say, this is you in a photo, here you go. Stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in there, but that's kind of the set of products, as it were.
I have a question from Zoom. Green's asking, how often and how would you do a code review?
4 or 5 times a day. Yeah. Everything you write will be reviewed, and all the review, you'll be pushing a lot, right? Yeah.
You have to get 1 review per PR, and you're always reviewing everybody else as well.
What's the interview process like?
Sure. So the interview process is essentially. It's going to be a take-home test. So we're going to, you'll have a behavioral interview probably with Tom, which will be mostly about understanding how you think about problems, what your past experience, but mostly there we're kind of getting a vibe, a vibe for you makes it sound super lame, but you understand. You'll also then have a take-home test where we'll give you a coding problem to solve. Less the coding problem, more. There will be a specific kind of assignment in a similar vibe to what I'm so sorry, it's a 3-letter acronym, but I've forgotten what the 3-letter acronym is. The first MVF, thank you. In a similar vein to the coding test that they were describing, right? You'll have time to do it. You'll be able to work through it, that kind of thing.
A lot of sport organizations are involved in charities. Is Let's Do This involved in specific charities as well?
We have done work with done work to help facilitate charity stuff in the past. We're not associated with a specific charity at the moment. We do a lot of from a technical perspective, the answer is essentially no at the moment. A lot of our runners do stuff for charity. We will match charity donations that you make up, I think, up to whatever. But yeah, no specific work with charities at the moment. Certainly an area we're interested in that.
You spoke a little bit about your roadmap, but as an entry-level developer joining a business, what sort of expectations do you have from us at, say, a 3-month, 6-month, 1-year stage?
Yeah, sure. So the idea behind it is that we're going to put you on a team kind of almost like immediately. So the intentional that you'll be kind of contributing to the team from the beginning. There isn't it's not a situation of there are like really strong fixed expectations to you immediately. There's a performance panel that happens. We go through a review process every 6 months where you have a chance to reach out to your colleagues for feedback and kind of see how you're doing. And like you'll sit down with your manager and talk about how we want you to grow. But it's not that like you need to do a fixed thing by 3 months or like you're out. It's very much like we are there to help you grow. You will have a manager focused on helping you grow. But it's very much like you're going to get on the team. You're going to help build cool product. And as part of that journey, like we want to make sure we're pushing you in the right direction. So again, you'll have opportunities to like push yourself towards the bits of the stack you want to do. So front end, back end, infra, that kind of stuff. So sorry, I'm talking.
Yeah, I was also going to add one more point as well. Is in our engineering team, we don't have any levels associated with each title. So we do have levels, but everybody is seen as equal when you first join. So that it's the best and the best idea that's heard, not just the most senior. So just know you're part of the team from day one. We're not just seeing you as just like someone that's going to fix bugs. You're there to contribute from day one.
Do you have offices, guys? And are you hybrid or work from home mainly? Or?
We're very flexible. We do have offices. We work in Holborn at the moment, but it's very like hybrid. So it's no set days. You don't have ideally you come in maybe like 1 day minimum a week, but it's totally up to you.
What can we do to make ourselves more attractive to you?
That is a question it's nice to hear.
Be yourself. Just be yourself.
We I guess at this point we value enthusiasm. We value a little bit of ambition. We value be interested in the kind of product and what you can bring to it. Because again because we're a smaller company, right? We've been growing a lot, but we're still I think 80-ish people at the moment. We value people who are happy to kind of throw themselves a little bit in everything, because it's not just about the coding, right? Like Aaron said, you're going to need to be able to think about things. So just be keen about the whole lot, and you'll look better to us. Yeah.
Going once? Yep.
Do you do events with the team a lot? I guess everyone's really into active stuff running, cycling, stuff like that. Do you guys do events just outside of
Do you mean sporting events?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get free entry to any sporting event. Well, any running, cycling, swimming. So you can enter anything. For example, the Hackney Half Ivan's doing this weekend. We're also both doing the Edinburgh Marathon in a week and a half, which I'm terrified about. Yeah, it's also very social. We just had an away day recently as well, which is obviously not a sporting event. It was just a time for everybody to go and stay in a hotel together and have a nice time. Yeah.
Particularly in this section, I think we've done particularly in this because it's the weather is beautiful. I think I've had an event, let's say, every other weekend for the last 2 months, always with LDT people, right?
It's not compulsory.
No.
You really don't have to do this if you don't want to.
We do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Massive round of applause. Brilliant. Well, I mean, lots of running and exercise, which is something I need to do more of. A lot of peer pressure. I don't need to do it. Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. So, guys, what we're going to do now, we're going to have a quick break. I say quick, 20, 30 minutes. Feel comfortable. There are some refreshments here. For our hiring partners, we have our refreshments in the room allocated to you there. Tesco isn't that far. If you want to quickly go and get a snack, it's literally just at the bottom of the road up there. But yeah, enjoy yourself, guys. Have a good chinwag. Have a break. Are we enjoying it so far? Yeah. Oh, a bit more energy. Are we enjoying it so far? Yeah. Love that. Thank you. Just saying to Kate, they're not going to do Simon Says again. And then someone said, let's do it again. Yes. Awesome. Wonderful. Microphone. I've lost the microphone. It's over here. It's not over here. I can't see the microphone. That's not a problem. Until it's a problem. We don't don't actually have the microphone. Nikki, you got a mic? Brilliant. Awesome. So are we enjoying it so far, yeah? Yeah. Fantastic. Listen, guys, keep that energy up. You're going to get that opportunity to network and put your best foot forward. You will get the opportunity to meet all of our amazing hiring partners today. We are about to hear from, that probably makes a lot more sense, you know, just look, Joseph. We're going to hear from our next hiring partner right now. Limio, awesome company who have hired from makers before. They've also brought one of the previous makers, Sergey here. So please, massive round of applause for, and yeah, of course, yeah. And Nat, sorry, no, it's too late. And Nat as well. Massive round of applause for Limio, please, if you can come up for me.
Hi everyone. Is this working? Is this working? Yeah. Hi. Feels weird in person. I'm not used to it anymore. So Limio. So I'll introduce you to the company I co-founded 5 years ago, and this really stressed me out that you have Slack open during the presentation. Okay. Hopefully no notification here coming up. All right. So Limio, we're a startup. We are based in London Bridge. We're 15 people, about 15 people. Nearly everyone is a developer except me. And what we're building is subscription e-commerce. So probably you know Shopify. We're building like a Shopify for subscription, basically. And a big focus is around speed. You know, subscription companies. So we work with I think it's down there, but we work with like The Economist, for example, and you know, The Economist wants to sell you their newspaper and magazines, and what they care about is when they want to do a promotion or they want to do a new pricing or a new discount, they want to be able to do it quickly, and so they use Limio to do that. So if you go on theeconomist.com and you click subscribe, what you're seeing is Limio, basically, and so that's been built by the people at Limio, and So who we are? So myself. So I used to work in a startup before called Go Cardless. That's now quite big in payments. My co-founder used to work at a US startup called Zora, which is also now very big. And so we've worked in subscription for 10, 20 years for Daniel. Daniel is the CTO. He's got experience in every programming language that exists, I think, and he's quite involved with it. Development, as you'd expect, and he's very senior and knows a ton about development. I think I covered some of these, but that's the team. As you see, we're pretty small, and nearly everyone on this picture is pretty much a developer. We're unlike a lot of startup. We're growing. Like unlike a lot of startup, we're actually profitable, which is a nice place to be. So our product, if you want to know a bit more what it does, because that's ultimately what, for example, Nat and Sergey are working on, it's like a content management system. There's an app or the platform that, marketers go to work in, and then that produces two things, a web shop, so that's where you buy, and then a self-service portal. So, when you're a subscriber, you want to cancel your subscription. They don't let you cancel online because they don't want you to. Well, we actually help them let you cancel online, which is a big thing that we want them to do. There's a lot of complexity in these things. I think I've got a slide later to just show quickly like all the type of feature that people at Limio work on. So, but you've all purchased a subscription. I assume, you want to view what you're going to buy. You have a checkout. Checkout is a lot of fun to work on. It's a really complex piece of development. There's a security implication. There's fraud, and there's like UX, and so it's a really interesting bit of the product. And then you want to manage your subscription, and so all that's produced by Limio, and so that's what the technology does, and it does it, I think, mostly with React, Node, and AWS. So this is just a big example of all the features that we've built, and you imagine, this is a team of 15 people, so there's a lot of interesting things we're working on, like obviously a checkout. You know, very recently Nat worked on the promo code, so there's a lot of complex logic when you're trying to give a promotion for a subscription, because it's like 10% for 3 months, for 6 months, you know, for some people, not for others. You know, can people who have abused HelloFresh like 10 times to get the first discount, can they get that promo? Which I've definitely abused, because now I know they don't do well, these kind of things. You know, things like abandoned carts, you know, everyone's favorite things like payment tax integrations. And you know, a big thing for Limio in the future, which means we're always going to need more development, is, you know, a customer, we have a way of doing things, but they want to do things their way. And we need to build framework so that they can code on Limio, so they can build their own React component and then upload them in Limio and then, you know, publish them online without us having to do anything. That's actually very hard. So that's kind of the stuff we're working on. All culture. So, I mean, I think every company has like focus on the customer, like be customer centric. But it's true, like we want people to go live with our technology. You know, we work with these really big companies like The Economist, and they're not the most organized companies, and they struggle sometimes to go live with technology. And e-commerce is pretty important. You know, like we signed The Economist during COVID, and that was literally the only way you could buy The Economist was online. So, you know, we need to make sure that they can use our technology. It works for them. They can do what they want with it. Getting things done, I mean, that's personally all I care about, like in terms of the work, you know, how people do it. It's kind of up to them. I mean, obviously, we coach, we have processes, etc. But what is my focus is just making sure, you know, can people understand the work they're being given, and can they ship in production? And make sure that we're all there to help each other ultimately, because what we do less of is, you know, things like pair programming or a lot of hand holding. What we try to do is we make sure we give you a piece of work that you understand, that you feel like you can do, and then make sure that everyone helps you like along the way, and make sure that there is time for that for the more senior people, because it's ultimately them who can often help you. Be the best version of yourself. That's just for generally, you know, we want everyone to keep a high bar. For myself, making sure that every day I come, I'm the best I can be, and I can help others and unblock them and get them the visibility they need. And that goes to open and honest, where, you know, I feel like doing things transparently, like within the company, that you can see everything that other people do, that every thing that they're working on, means that we always get to a better solution, because I don't know best, but, you know, Nat might have a really good opinion on something, and then with us discussing it and challenging each other, we'll get to a better solution than if it's just Nat or just me. So that's really important in our culture. And so why we're hiring, you know, wonderful makers at Limio is just to give a bit of a story. So the company is 5 years old. A couple of years ago, I wanted to hire people from bootcamp, like makers. My best friend did makers. And we just had a full stack role. And basically the full stack role, we expect people to hit the ground running. And that wasn't great for people from bootcamp, because obviously you've got a bit of a learning curve, especially learning to code in a professional setting, and getting things in production is pretty scary. And so we created the integration engineer role, because we found that would enable someone from a bootcamp to come in, contribute, learn, and then after 12 or 18 or 24 months decide, okay, I like this, I want to work with customer, you know, work on the code that helps those customers go live, or, you know, I want to go on the product roadmap more as a full stack. And so we created this role with kind of that training or learning element that's baked in. But the kind of things you do are helping people to go live. It's very important. There's a lot of development that actually needs to happen. You know, those companies, they want like pixel perfect shops, and we need to make sure that we create the React components that they're happy with, and that works with our own APIs or external APIs. Delivering, so for example, you know, recently we added Apple Pay, and you know, those are the kind of things that we need to do because our customer asks for it and expect it. Integration, there's quite a bit of integration at Limio. It's never everyone's favorite piece of work, but it is important. You know, ultimately companies, they don't just want Limio to work, they want it to work with their other application. I think probably surprisingly, there's quite a bit of AWS, which I think Sergey was mentioning he's learned. You actually will go in AWS and learn about like some of the infrastructure, Terraform, because ultimately we want people, we don't want to pigeonhole you early. Like we want you to learn a bit of everything and then decide through time, okay, I quite like the front end, or I quite like the back end, or I quite like the DevOps, and then kind of get you more specialized as you become more senior. And supporting people going live, which is kind of the core of this role ultimately. And that's it. So that's Limio for you. Cool. Questions?
So you actually used to work at GoCardless, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Because I know GoCardless is like a subscription, a direct debit automation API. Do you actually use that API? Or do you
We actually don't integrate with GoCardless. Funny. Actually, that's not true. We do now. Yeah, we do. Yeah. But that's how I got the idea for Limio, because I was working with subscription businesses, you know, giving them direct debit, which is very exciting. And you know, they were like, yeah, it's great you do the payment, but what about the whole rest of the subscriber experience? You know, people need to view your product, they need to select their pricing, they need to see your checkout, they need to authenticate, which is really hard. They need to, you know, complete their order, then they need to cancel it, renew it, upgrade it, downgrade it. And that's where, like, you know what, we could build a technology that like helps you spin up those things and then customize it. And so yeah, it's kind of linked to that experience of GoCardless. Yeah. Yeah, we cover a lot more of the subscriber experience, but we don't do really payment. We just integrate with the payment, which is nice because it's not a fun part of work to integrate with the banks and things like that.
So in regards to the integration role, what support do you have for a junior developer just starting?
Yeah, I mean, Sergey, you've been in the role.
All right, so I joined in January as an integration engineer, so just finished Makers last year. I'd say like the support is as much as you want it or as much as you need it. Like a lot of times I'll just be like, okay, I want to try this ticket, and I'll go away and try and work on that. And then if I get stuck, I'll go to one of the tech leads and be like, can you sit with me for a few hours and help me with this? So yeah, support is as much as you really want it. A lot, you know, some people I know just like to be lone wolves and kind of go at it and have a crack and see what they make of it before they go get help. You know, my manager's always like trying to get me to take more training days. That's one thing they're kind of keen on, is like taking days out to actually go learn new stuff that you're interested in, whether it's testing or Redux or AWS. So yeah, I think the support's as much as you want it. You know, I had a buddy at the start, which was actually Nat. So we'd have like little catch-ups every day, and he would be like, is there anything you're stuck on, anything I can quickly help you with? So that was really useful at the start. And then kind of as time goes on, you become a bit more confident with the code base. That's probably the kind of the most challenging thing I'd say coming from Makers, is like stepping up from like a tiny little React app that you've built in a few days to like this code base that's a lot more complex, a lot more mature, and just like figuring out where everything goes. That's probably the hardest thing, more than anything. So yeah, don't know if that kind of answers the question at all. Yeah.
Yeah, if just one thing to add is, one thing we've noticed is that the people who do well at the Limio is just the people who know how to ask for help and when to ask for help. And it's really important. It's not an easy skill in a way, especially for a junior, but if you feel like that's something you're good at, then you'll be fine, because everyone at Limio is quite a supportive culture, wants to help. But the problem is it's a startup too, so everyone's very busy. So you need to make sure you know how to ask for help, basically. And when you're stuck, you say, you know, this is my problem, this is what I've been looking at, and here's, you know, can someone help me? And then, you know, you'll get 5 people jumping on it, but you just need to know how to do that, basically.
Yeah, so the majority of the time, is that solo coding rather than pair programming?
Yes, is the answer. But, you know, you need to give your voice a rest. Yeah, so most of the time it's solo programming, kind of, as Sergey said. It's the kind of, I suppose, like the usual kind of like process is you'll get a ticket, and ideally it'll be very well written. Sometimes it's not, and so then that's a great time to be like, I don't know what I'm doing with this ticket, and then people will help you and give you like very clear requirements and ideally point you in the right place in the code base where to go, especially when you're like just starting out, and give you like some of like the broad steps of like what to do, and then you can kind of go away and take a swing at that and come back and ask good questions like, I'm getting this error code at this point, can you help me? And then usually we're all really happy to jump on and help because we're all struggling with our own problems. So it's nice to help with someone else and make a breakthrough there. Cool.
Someone on Zoom has asked, is there a remote/hybrid option for work?
Oh yeah, there is. So we have an office in London Bridge. I think we're in, on average, 1 day a week is the ask. Some people are in more, some people are in, some people are in a little bit less, but yeah, one day a week is the ask, so yeah.
Got time for one more question. Going once? Going twice? Sold. Fantastic. Round of applause. Wonderful. And now, last but not least, if we could give a massive round of applause to the final hiring partner that's going to be speaking today, after which you will get that fantastic opportunity to network and meet all of them. Shell, round of applause. Oh. I'm so sorry, are you guys okay to go?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Alex, whenever she shows up, I come running in. So.
That's perfect.
Yes. I should probably message her. If you can press the buttons, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll just look out for her. So, hi guys. You can actually go to the next slide because we have our speakers. Alex, who isn't here, whenever she shows up. So we are from Shell, but we're also from Agile Hub. So I think most of you guys have heard of Shell, very big corporate, but we work in a slightly smaller area called Agile Hub. And I'll tell you all about that, but I wanted to talk about us as individuals first. So that's me. It's a nice wedding picture, my LinkedIn picture. I am the lead of Agile Hub. So the team are just in the UK. There's about 40 people underneath me, and we have all three disciplines where we have product, engineering, and design. And, similar to you guys, I actually started my life in Shell 11 years ago. So I like to pretend I'm young and youthful, but no, I've been around the block. I actually did a degree in forensics, and I started at Shell, and I was just office admin. I started in HR, the lowest person, making people teas and coffees, printing out papers and giving them to them. And then I was a bit like, oh, you know what, Shell's a really good company. You know, I can do a bit more than just make teas and coffees, printing out pieces of paper for them. You know, I've got a university degree. Maybe I can do something with it. So from then, they were like, okay, what else can you do? So then I started working on more data sides of stuff. I did MI, did analytics, and then I started working on systems rollout as well. I was still in the business side of it, but I'm like, this IT stuff is pretty fun. So why don't I try and change my career and move into IT? And that's exactly what I did. And that's also one of the great benefits of Shell, because it's such a big company. They allowed me to do that. So I got lots of training in-house. And then I moved into a BA role, where I was a BA, a senior BA, and then a product manager to the role I am in today. So I really feel for you guys, because if there was like a Makers 10 years ago after I graduated, I would have done the same thing. But I was able to do that within the comfort of Shell. So I don't know who wants to go next.
Yeah, so hey everyone. My name's Matt. I'm a tech lead at Seth. Seth isn't the team we're actually looking to hire into today, but the reason I'm here is because I was sat where you guys were 6 years ago. I was on the January 2016 cohort. Since then, at each of my employers, I've been kind of banging the maker's drum, getting someone to let me come back here. But this is the first time I've actually been able to, so yeah, kind of moment of personal pride for me to be back here today. So yeah, I'm not directly involved in kind of like the team that's being hired for today, but I'm hoping maybe in the Q&A later I can answer some of your questions, add a bit of like maker's perspective, and maybe answer some of the questions about what I'd be looking for, at the point you're at now, and how Shell can help with that.
Thanks. Hi everyone, my name's Tristan. I'm a principal software engineer for Shell, and specifically I work in the nature and environmental solution space. So we're hiring in one of our teams, which is kind of helping with the management of certificates for both carbon certificates, power trading. So power certificates are basically guarantee your power comes from a renewable source, or gas, so guaranteeing that the gas is sustainable. So, yeah. No, that's right. That's right. It's the name thing. That's right. So I've been a software engineer for 17 years. I've been in Shell only a year, so not as long as Sarah. I've been in gas and power trading for about 10 years now. So I worked at Total previously, and I've also done a stint at AWS. And the reason why I enjoy working at Shell is from an IT perspective, it's a place you can actually come and change things, right? It's, I would say, kind of transitioning from a large corporate and the way things used to be run to how can we kind of embrace and kind of move at pace now. So, and with the carbon transition, it's also an exciting place to be in, an exciting area of the business to be in. And I will hand over to Alex.
Alex, who is on a delayed train, but oh well, let's just carry on. She can introduce herself if she ever shows up in time. So as I was saying, within Agile Hub, we like to do things slightly different because we know within big corporates, they take a long time, they spend a lot of money, and they tend to just, somebody really senior says, hey, I want to build an app for something, and there's no real business case behind it. It's just some idea that they had. And then often IT was very much like, hey, let's go and do it. And then they spent like $2 million on something that nobody would ever use. So we're like, well, that's not great, is it? So what we try and do is that we use human-centered design and actually go back to the problem statement. So we're trying to figure out why we are doing this. What is the root cause? What problems are we trying to solve? Actually speaking to users and getting into the nitty-gritty and actually building something that people will use. So going to the next slide. This is how we do it. So as I say, within Agile Hub, we have all three disciplines working together. Product, engineering. Oh, sorry, I need to speak with, I feel like I'm at karaoke now. We use product, engineering, and design, and we all work together. So we use what we call lean innovation, product management, and we also aren't able to use any type of tech stack that we need to use. So unlike other companies, we have the flexibility to use anything that we need to. And actually, in the presentation, we're not really going to show a slide about tech stack because we have the, I guess, availability to use whatever we need to. If you want to go to the next one. What is lean innovation? So this I was mentioning before. Within Agile Hub, because we don't just cater for one line of business, we actually have the power to say yes or no if we want to build a product, which leaves us in that very unique position that we can say, do we want to use it? So is there demand? Are we going to make money from it? And can we actually do it? So do we have the capability to do that? So often when we bring something into Agile Hub, we do a discovery piece where we get one person from product and then one person from design and one person from engineering to come in and say, do we using this DVF framework to say, is this something that we need to carry on with? Sometimes the answer is no, but that's good because then we've done our due diligence to actually take it forward. And that's when we use things like testing, ideas, assumptions, and we do this quite rigorously. So we want to actually go out and speak to users and actually understand if we can go ahead with it. So sometimes we say no, sometimes we say yes. You can take us to the next slide. That's a wee bit of what I talked about. So we have these three people or three different disciplines working together. Human-centered design, like I said, we care about the users at the end of the day. We want people to use it. We want people to actually like what they're using as well. Engineering, well, I was going to leave that to Alex, but she's not here, so we can carry on. The other one is, why is Agile Hub a wee bit different? So if you go to the next slide. Oh, sorry, that was me. Next slide. This is some of the products that we've previously had. So right now, within Agile Hub, there's 12 different products. So it's not just one line of business. So we've got Seth, which is yours. We have something to do with carbon here. We had something to do with land aggregation as well. We actually put that one on hold because we realized the market wasn't ready for that. Other things that we work on, hydrogen, EV, loads of different products, again. So there's not just one line of business, one line of tech stack. Like I said, we work a lot with power as well, nature-based solutions. So there's a whole load of diversity in there. So that's a great thing about it. And also, if you guys want to come join Shell, if you get bored of something, if you want to learn a new tech stack, we have that all available within Agile Hub as well. This was Alex's slide. Again, I'll just talk about it. So what we think is really important to you guys is support and training. And this really talks about your journey when you come into Shell. So we think it's really important that you guys have a buddy available to you. And in the first 3 months, you'll have weekly one-to-ones with people like Matt, your tech lead. You'll also attend all the sprint ceremonies. You'll have a bi-weekly meeting with Alex as well. Sorry, I'm just spitting on the mic. And equally, the social aspect of it, because I think that's really important. You'll be working with a lot of other developers. There's about 40-odd in the team right now, so you'll have access to them. I have the fun job of arranging monthly socials, so I take you guys out every month, more if I can do that. Also, there's monthly all-hands meetings as well, where you get together, there's Slack channels. I do my weekly controversial poll, which I love. Sorry, I'm just plugging it into myself here. But anyway, going back to support. After like month 3 to 6, the meetings become a wee bit less, but saying that, you should be on your feet right now because we'll give you actual problems to work with. It's not like you're just not going to be doing anything, you're going to shadow people. We'll actually give you code to write there. Again, you have all the aspects of, you'll have your buddy there, you'll have your tech leads, you'll have all the sprint ceremonies that we do. So we tend to run in Scrum as well. And then around month 6 to 12, hopefully at this point in time, you've been at Shell, you think it's amazing, and you want to convert into Shell staff as well. So we'll have an end-of-year review in month 11. You'll have a quarterly meeting, and you'll also be speaking to me as the Agile Hub lead as well. So I'll be like on your journey. There's no formalized meetings with me, but I'll be around. So you guys can come and speak to me whenever you guys want to as well. So that's the system there. Obviously, in terms of training, it is very much hands-on training. When you come in as Shell staff, you'll get a lot of formalized training that you can do as well. We have LinkedIn Learning. There's all of these different pieces, but there's so many people around you who can give you, you know, what in terms of like, if there's a new language you want to learn, there's probably somebody in the team who's already like knows it and uses it that you can speak to. So that is a wee bit about support and training.
So I appreciate this looks all very formalized, right? I would just like to highlight there's actually 800 developers or something that you'll have access to. There's groups, so it's not, this is the formalized aspect, but you can reach out to anyone at any time. There's team channels, Slack channels, Yammer, and you name it. So there's plenty of routes you can go down to get help when you need it.
Yeah, we're actually going to be organizing a software conference. Did you know, within software engineering at Shell? They gave me that task to do as well. But yeah, so there's loads of other things. So because Shell is a massive company, I think when I was actually just looking at LinkedIn, because I have no idea, I think there's 87,000 people, employees within Shell, but within Agile Hub in the UK, there's 75. That's the team you'll be in. But there's also Agile Hub US, Netherlands, India, and then there's software engineering as well, where there's 800 people. So loads of big teams there. I don't have a slide on it, but I know there's quite a few people who've asked about hybrid working and stuff. Oh, there's Alex. Great. That's all right. In terms of how we work at Shell, the policy that we have is hybrid working. So you can choose when you want to come in. I'm in 4 days a week because we have a free gym, and the gym is actually really nice. You can cycle in, there's like showers, whatever, towels, whatever you need to. But that's a policy I gave to myself to motivate myself to exercise. If you don't want to come in, you don't have to. It's really up to the product themselves. I know I never see you. But that's okay, that's okay. Alex is in occasionally, and you're in occasionally too. So it's whenever you want to come in. So it's flexible. Hi, Alex. I know you just ran in. I've gone through all of the slides now, and I talked about your bit in terms of support and training. But I don't know if you want to add anything, knowing that you haven't listened to anything of what I've said.
I can recover it, just to kind of go over it again.
Please.
So really this...
Introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, so I'm Alex, the engineering lead for the Agile Hub in the UK. So really the support model is focused around setting people up so they can become independent and self-serve their own problems. So really looking to have more of a hands-off approach and slowly give you more freedom over time. So at the start, you have weekly one-to-ones with your tech lead, and then a bi-weekly one-to-one with me. These are slightly different focus, and you will be talking to the tech lead on a daily basis anyway, via stand-ups and just questions that you'll have of them and they'll have of you. And then slowly over time, we're looking to kind of reduce the amount of contact time you need in a structured way, so that hopefully you'll start to take over those responsibilities yourself and really start to sort of direct your own career and direct the way you're learning. So from month 3 to 6, it'll then drop down to a bi-weekly one-to-one with your tech lead, and then a monthly one-to-one with me. And then really from month 6, we're looking to kind of integrate you fully into the rest of engineering, where it's much more free-form. It's really down to you and your tech lead to define how you work together. So from that point, you'll have a quarterly meeting with me to kind of just establish how things are going, talk about career plans, and any changes you may want to make, whether you want to move teams, whether you want to focus on a slightly different tech stack. Then in terms of one-to-ones with your tech lead, that's really up to you and them to decide. At that point, some people have bi-weekly one-to-ones, some people have weekly one-to-ones. Other ones, they just kind of don't feel the need to do that, and they'll just have ad hoc conversations as they feel it's required. And then we have also additional events that happen just throughout anyway. So a monthly engineering all hands, this is really to focus on, so on top of the all hands that happen within the Agile Hub anyway, just to focus purely on technical stuff, to have discussions around which direction we want to head the engineering department in. And then we also we have socials for the Agile Hub. I'm also looking at setting up socials for the engineering team, just because I know engineers are kind of, they're not hugely social people, so having a bit of contact time is always good. So at least when you go to the Agile Hub socials, you at least know a couple of other engineers there that aren't just on your team. And then in terms of formalized training, I'm not a huge believer in that. I think the best way to learn is by doing. So we're really looking at supporting you in making mistakes and getting things wrong and then learning from them. I don't feel much need to say you'll have one day a week where you'll be learning something. I'd much rather you just figure that out yourself, discuss it with your tech lead, and if you want to go in a direction, try something out, then go ahead and do it. If you want to spend a week doing that, that's fine. If you don't want to, that's also fine.
I think we're being told to be quiet now. Open for questions, I guess.
Awesome, round of applause. Questions?
It seems that lots of the projects that we've talked about are kind of in the more sustainable green aspect. Is that what Agile Hub is about, or?
Yes. I don't even know if this is on, but yes. So that's the great thing about Agile Hub. Right now, 100% of the projects are only in sustainable energy. Well, pretty much. And that's the real focus I want for the team, to only work on sustainable energy. I know we can talk about the wider part of Shell, but yeah, it is 100% sustainability. Yeah.
Do you work with Shell TechWorks?
No, we don't. I don't know if you ever have come across them, but again, I never worked with them. I know that they exist somewhere in the ether or Shell, but no, I haven't come across them. No. But yeah.
Going once.
No.
Going twice. So, thank you very much. And an even bigger round of applause to Alex, who managed to run in here and deliver that piece. No, I know, no. Don't worry, honestly, you're fine. It was us that had set up. They were supposed to speak at 12:10, but so yeah, she was on time. Well, guys, it's come to that time, everybody, where we get to actually meet our fabulous hiring partners. Now, to avoid the complete chaos of us rushing over to them immediately, what we're going to do is actually ask our hiring partners to just stand up. My colleagues, Katie, Nikki, they're going to kind of direct you to where your tables will be. And what I am going to ask the amazing Makers graduates to do is actually do the Makers thing and work together, right? And how we're going to do that is we're going to stand up and stack our chairs. Yay! So if we could stack our chairs, please, nice and neatly over there, whilst our hiring partners get set up, and then that'd be great. Don't worry, you don't worry.